god, that was perfect. That was perfect, bro. Tony was wrong. Oh, I need this. I need this video. Dang. Cause niggas don't want to listen to me. Niggas don't want to listen to me, bro. At each front, bro. On the Tony and his mom and his girl's side, bro. No, on his mom's side and the Sokovia side, he was wrong. Niggas don't want to. I bet. How are you watching this? Dang, you got me. You got me. Alright. M Enterprises. With the vid. Okay, that's 1080 though.
One thing I like about...
Alright. Iron Man was wrong in Captain America Civil War.
One thing I like about Captain America Civil War is that there are really strong arguments for both sides. Even if you prefer one side over the other, you can see where Tony and Steve are coming from with their stances on the Sokovia Accords. It's easier to side with Captain America in the Civil War comic due to one of the requirements of the Superhero Registration Act being that any US citizen with superhuman abilities must register with the federal government, including them having to publicly reveal their secret identities. The biggest example of this was when Spider-Man revealed himself to be Peter Parker.
So fucking disgusting. This is really what makes Iron Man a fucking villain, bro. For doing this shit. God.
Parker to the public when he initially joined Team Iron Man. I know J. Jonah Jameson was tweaking when he first saw Peter under that mask. Civil War to this day is honestly one of my favorite MCU movies. I remember being way too excited for this movie's release in theaters. The marketing went crazy. Team Cap or Team Iron Man was a...
Dead ass. The marketing was insane. Like Team Cap, Team Iron Man, like the ads, the YouTube shit, the videos. Nigga lit up Eiffel Tower, bro. Come on, bro. This shit was crazy.
Craziest debate for a brief period. I know many people would take the side of Iron Man as...
To this day, if you hop on Twitter, in a couple months, they would talk about this. They would bring up this debate. Who was right? Who was wrong? To this day, niggas will argue about this shit.
He had the unfair advantage in having beloved characters like Black Panther and freaking Spider-Man, which was their first introductions to the MCU. You should have seen me when they first revealed Spider-Man in that trailer.
Cause that shit, for real, that shit wasn't supposed to happen. Y'all like, oh, Spider-Man MCU, oh yeah, Spider-Man Avenger. That shit was not supposed to happen at all. Sony, Marvel, completely different. And the way when that trailer dropped, it actually broke the internet, bro. Actually. Oh.
Geeking out.
Alright, I ran out of patience.
Oh, when this came out, the trailer, second trailer, bro, whole world, bro. What?
When it comes to the Sokovia Accords and the general plot of the film, there's only one side that's the correct answer, and any other answer is just simply incorrect. The definitive side, of course, would be the side of my glorious Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, the first Avenger, the GOAT Avenger.
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
You know, the guy that stands up for what's right despite what the government tries to impose on others. The same dude who held Mjolnir during the third act of Endgame, delivering an all-timer of a line with the Avengers by his side. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with him. Actually, Team Iron Man was morally correct throughout the entirety of Civil War.
Nope.
Incorrect.
Nope.
Now, I'm not trying to discredit Tony Stark here. He is one of the best characters in this universe, and the first Iron Man spearheaded an entire cinematic universe. However, in Civil War, one side has Iron Man, and the other has the greatest Avenger in the MCU. Sorry, not sorry, I'll make the rules. You don't believe me or think I'm spewing nonsense? Go ask Deadpool. A big reason as to why I think Cap is on the right side is not just because I like glazing him or anything, even though all the glaze is justified. It has to do with how the Avengers being controlled by the United Nations isn't necessarily the way to go with how easily corruptible these organizations can be. Now,
this nigga just stopped Hydra from S.H.I.E.L.D. a movie ago. 2 years ago.
Yes, Tony brings up a good point with the destruction they've caused, very noteworthy, coming from the guy who created Ultron. A woman also confronted Tony in the beginning of the film about how her son was in Sokovia but died due to the Avengers Ultron battle. Hell, the main villain of Civil War, Helmut Zemo, only wants to destroy the Avengers because his family died in Sokovia. But the government has shown its fair share of reasons as to why it can't be trusted.
Security Council, it's not S.H.I.E.L.D., it's not Hydra.
No, but it's run by people with agendas, and agendas change. If we sign this, we surrender our right to choose. What if there's somewhere we need to go and they don't let us? We may not be perfect, but the safest hands are still our own.
Steve's stance on the whole situation is corroborated by many scenarios that have already happened or will happen in the MCU timeline, like S.H.I.E.L.D. being secretly overtaken by Hydra ever since the collapse of Hydra after World War II. It was secretly rebuilt inside S.H.I.E.L.D. since the 70s thanks to a Swiss scientist who used to work under the Red Skull named Armin Zola. There were several members of Hydra outside of S.H.I.E.L.D. in modern times, holding various positions within the World Council and the US government. Like that one random guy from Iron Man 2, he turned out to be a part of Hydra. Alexander Pierce was an undercover operative in the US government who worked...
No, that was crazy. He said, "Hail Hydra." What?
For Hydra, while simultaneously being at a high position of power in S.H.I.E.L.D. The Winter Soldier movie sheds light on Project Insight, a plan involving Hydra agents within S.H.I.E.L.D. using airborne helicarriers to eliminate anyone who could pose a threat to their plans.
Zola's algorithm is a program. Choosing Insight's targets.
What targets?
You, Bruce Banner, Stephen Strange, anyone who's a threat to Hydra. Now or in the future.
Did y'all forget the fact that Nick Fury's superiors in the World City Council literally wanted to send a nuclear missile at Manhattan during the Battle of New York?
First, aliens, ugh. Yeah, nuke that whole shit.
Avengers.
We've been meaning to do that.
Film. Even Nick Fury saw the lunacy in that decision, was like,
I recognize the council has made a decision, but given that it's a stupid-ass decision, I've elected to ignore it.
And if it wasn't for Iron Man taking the missile up into the wormhole toward the sanctuary, New York would have been blown to bits. I'm failing to see why it's a good idea for the Avengers to only go on missions under the supervision of these people. In the vein of government-controlled superheroes, look at what happened when the government had their own Captain America via John Walker and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier after Sam gave up the shield in the museum. He killed one of the Flag Smashers after his friend Lamar died in combat, but because he did it in a public way, he was viewed as irrational and out of control and was forced to step down as Captain America. On top of that, Bucky and Sam had to forcibly take out of control and was forced to step down as Captain America.
Like, whoa, we can die now. Whoa. I was like, yeah. Yeah.
On top of that, Bucky and Sam had to forcibly take the shield away from John Walker and double teamed him. The same guy who briefed the Avengers on the Sokovia Accords, Thunderbolt Ross, allowed Emil Blonsky to turn into the Abomination and spend a lot of his time trying to capture and take down the Hulk. Who knows what crazy shenanigans he's going to involve himself in as Red Hulk in Brave New World. Funniest part about all of this is that there was a brief period in Civil War where Steve considered the possibility of signing the Accords directly.
He did. I remember he was like,
saying how it's not impossible for him to sign, there just needs to be safeguards or assurances that the rules established won't be misused. Him and Tony are discussing this in Berlin once the authorities caught up to
that's enough.
Bucky and Steve, as Tony was trying to convince Steve to sign.
Nah, this movie was so fucking good. What? Get back, bro.
But their conversation goes downhill once Steve finds out Tony had kept Wanda confined to the Avengers compound and ordered Vision to make sure she never leaves.
Wanda? What about Wanda?
She's fine. She's confined to the compound currently. Vision's keeping her company.
Oh, God, Tony.
She's not a U.S. citizen, and they don't grant visas to weapons of mass destruction.
She's a kid.
Give me a break! I'm doing what has to be done to stave off something worse.
You keep telling yourself that.
The craziest part about all the drama between the Avengers and them essentially breaking up at the end is how the Sokovia Accords had no lasting impact in the MCU. You see in Infinity War General Ross get dismissed by Rhodey and he's like, yeah, screw you, man. Or Captain America telling him to stay out of their way. Matt Murdock in the She-Hulk show went up against Jennifer Walters during a court case in which he briefly goes over the fact that the Accords are pretty much meaningless now.
Suits exclusively.
I forgot this was insane ball knowledge for like the MCU, bro.
For superheroes.
This actually
he goes over the fact that the Accords are pretty much meaningless now.
Suits exclusively for superheroes necessitates anonymity. May I remind you that the Sokovia Accords have been repealed.
You take a good look at
yeah, that was dumb. Even they said, you know, that was fucking dumb. We're done with that.
A team
had a nice
Iron Man's roster and realized half of them were with him for ulterior motives outside the Accords.
There's I fuck with Tony. That's it. Not the Accords itself. Tony's like shit.
T'Challa mainly wanted revenge against Bucky.
This nigga, this is a great point, bro. Great point.
As he was framed for bombing the United Nations in Vienna, which ended up killing T'Challa's father, T'Chaka, in the process. Peter Parker wasn't really briefed by Tony on the intricacies of the Accords and why Captain America was running away in the first place.
Exactly.
He literally pulls up to Aunt May and Peter's apartment and is like, say, bro, you trying to go to Germany?
I can't go to Germany.
See? If he knew, he would have chosen Cap.
I'm gonna pretend he didn't say that.
No, I'm being serious.
Look, kid, there's a lot going on here that you don't understand.
Stark says you'd say that.
Stark tell you anything else?
That you're wrong, you think you're right, it makes you dangerous.
You got hard, kid. Where you from?
Queens.
Brooklyn.
Natasha prevented Black Panther from catching up with Steve and Bucky, and she allowed them to use a Quinjet to try and catch Zemo in Siberia. When he finally caught up to Steve and Bucky, T'Challa discovered that it was Zemo who bombed the UN while T'Challa was eavesdropping on their conversation. Then in the post-credit scene, T'Challa helped Steve sneak Bucky into Wakanda to help free him of his brainwashing. It's fascinating to see so many people miss on.
And Rhodey is already known, everybody already knows him, type E. He's already been working with the government, right? And he's his man, so right hand man, so that's 4 niggas on your team, bro. And 5 is you, 6 is Vision. That's crazy, bro. You ain't got a squad, for real.
Understand Steve's decisions.
That's a great point.
Throughout the course of the film, saying he only did it to protect his best friend who wasn't deserving of his protection. First off, Bucky had been wrongfully accused of bombing the UN, and Steve, Sam, and Bucky were captured and taken to a facility where they watched security camera footage of a psychiatrist sent by the United Nations to evaluate Bucky. Steve realized that Zemo wasn't the real psychiatrist that was sent, but in fact was the one who bombed the UN and
this nigga could have locked it any time, bro.
Framed Bucky. Ever since Black Widow released millions of data files about Hydra to the public at the end of The Winter Soldier, Zemo uncovered information about the Winter Soldier program. He then uncovered a book containing the code words necessary to control the Winter Soldier. Zemo did this so that he could uncover all the information he needed on the mission report relating to the deaths of Howard and Maria Stark.
This nigga was on one the whole time.
Which he would use to rip the Avengers apart even more. However, they believed Zemo might be traveling to the Siberian Hydra base to use an army of Winter Soldiers for his own personal gain. So Steve assembles a team of his own in order for them to travel to Siberia and stop Zemo. Thunderbolt Ross ordered Tony to apprehend.
See, because that ass, he said, we going against a team of super fucking soldiers. I need this squad to go there. That was the actual plot, not just a fight there. He said, we need to go stop this shit before it ends the fucking world. Because they're super fast, they're smart, they can go in any culture, any like government, they can take it down, bro. So he's like, we need to stop this shit. Tony, stop being a fucking asshole. Bro, I forgot, bro.
Bucky and Steve and assembled his own team to stop them in their tracks when they all crossed paths in the airport. So Cap wasn't just doing this for selfish reasons and became a fugitive. He was literally trying to stop Zemo. So they all have a big tussle at the airport, with Steve and Bucky being the only ones able to escape to Siberia. Tony found out Bucky was framed,
that's the mission.
And Zemo being the true culprit. Then he followed them to Siberia thanks to Sam telling Tony about it after he was captured. And even went up to Steve being like, yo, let's call a truce, I was wrong. Unbeknownst to Steve, Tony, and Bucky, all 3 of them being together was all part of Zemo's plan, so that Tony could see the recording of both his parents being murdered by the Winter Soldier. This sequence of events is where I see a lot of debates, either in favor or against Captain America. Yes, Tony's reaction was justified, as he just saw his parents get murdered right in front of him in a recording, and the man who performed those actions is standing right next to him. But it absolutely baffles my mind when people go, man, Captain America's a punk. I can't believe him and Bucky jumped an orphan when he just saw his parents get killed. Either we watch 2 completely different movies, or some of you lack media literacy skills. Bucky was brainwashed by Hydra.
Every single one of these niggas want to ignore that fact. Right?
He had absolutely no control of his actions. You think he willingly killed Tony's parents and enjoyed it or something? There are moments when he doesn't even remember his own actions when the Winter Soldier persona is activated with the right code words.
What did I do? Everything Hydra put inside me is still there. All he had to do was say the goddamn words.
It wasn't like Steve and Bucky ganged up on Tony on some demon timing. Yeah, Bucky killed your parents, so you gotta catch this fade, little bro. They didn't even want to fight Tony initially. Bucky was trying to run away because Tony wanted to kill him on the spot with zero hesitation. Tony was the aggressor here. Bucky was out here running for his life, and Steve was trying to stop Tony in killing his best friend. But they knew he wasn't gonna stop, so they did what they needed to do and fought him.
Get out of here! It wasn't him, Tony. Hydra had control of his mind. Move!
It wasn't him!
He's not gonna stop. Go. This isn't gonna change what happened.
I don't care. He killed my mom.
Get him up, let him get up, let him get up, let him get up. Fight back! Fight back! Fight back!
I will admit, Steve not telling Tony that Bucky killed his parents was pretty foul of him. That's something he should have not withheld, and he was wrong in that regard. But did you really expect Captain America to just sit by and let his best and oldest friend get murdered for something he had no control over? I think you can make a strong argument for Tony if he instead wanted to bring Bucky into the authorities for the death of his parents, but that's clearly not what he wanted to do. This man Bucky Barnes
Mr. Accords, follow the Accords. I don't know. I don't care. Head top. Okay.
Forcefully brought into the Winter Soldier program after his supposed death and was brainwashed and tortured into doing Hydra's bidding. He feels guilty for all the killings he's committed, as seen in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They literally used electric shocks to wipe decades worth of his memories and turn him into the ultimate killing machine, constantly being frozen and unfrozen to perform assassinations. Bucky didn't kill Tony's parents. It was
Dawn this nigga out. For special occasions.
The Winter Soldier under Hydra's command. I shouldn't even have to explain the basic concepts of mind control and how it isn't Bucky's fault, but here we are. Again, I understand Tony acting out of anger, but Steve was completely in the right for defending his friend. If you disagree with that, then I don't know what to tell you, man. Go rewatch the movie. Man, I miss when the MCU used to consistently make bangers like this, back when we cared about the core cast of characters and felt like we, the audience, were on a years-long journey alongside some of our favorites. Good times, good times. Both Iron Man and Captain America had really strong, compelling arguments as to why they think the Accords needed to be enforced or rectified. But let's be honest with ourselves, Cap was always in the right. He was foul for not telling Tony about his parents, but other than that, my boy Steve did nothing wrong in my book. We are Team Captain America in this household, both in the comics and in the MCU. It ain't just bias, it's straight facts.
Straight facts. Great argument, bro. You said a lot of the points. You brought up some new shit, bro. Yes. Actually, bro, on the Accords front and like his front, like yes, bro. Like, bro, you ain't gonna give him a chance to win. That wasn't even him. He was mind washed. And the Accord, you know that's fucked up, bro. The first time the government had control, they wanted to nuke you. Remember, a couple years ago, that shit that gave you PTSD. Remember, that was the government actually sending a nuke there, and you had to take it out to space, bro. And that's what make you paranoid about that space, bro. That's the government. The first second. They saw you, so I don't care. Yeah, it's a great vid, great point. Team Cap all day.